Well, hello. Today we have a reading from Torah Thoughts by Reb Leo Gartenberg. And today's story is on how faith brings its own reward. Let's take a look at it right now. Faith brings its reward. The sainted Rabbi of Kuznets narrated this story of faith in God. It concerns one of his pious disciples who was poverty-stricken. His oldest daughter was to be married, and he had no money for the wedding. The disciple pleaded with the rabbi to pray to God to send him help. "I see that you don't trust God to help you," said the rabbi to the distraught man. "I suggest you pay a visit to one of my loyal pupils who lives in a distant town. He is a God-fearing man, and you can learn a lot from him. He will also help you." The disciple thanked the rabbi and started out for the distant town. A few days later, he arrived and called upon the pupil of the Kuznets rabbi. The man appeared to be very rich. He had many servants, and his doors were open to all the poor people of the town. Entering the estate, the disciple was greeted by the host, who provided him with food and lodging. But the poor man was confused. "What can I learn from a rich man?" he thought to himself. "He doesn't have my troubles. Is it possible the rabbi made a mistake?" He approached the rich man and told him about his doubts and why he had come to see him. The host took him aside and said to him, "Were it not for the fact that you come to me from the rabbi, I would not reveal my secret, a secret which I keep even from my wife and children." He then led the disciple outside to a small hut. "This is my treasure house, where I am supposed to have all my money hidden," he said. He opened the door, and there he saw a bare room with only a table and a chair in the center of it. On the table was a book of Psalms. "Let me tell you the truth," said the host. "I am a very poor man. My estate is mortgaged, and I owe tremendous debts. No one knows of my poor financial condition. When my creditors press me for payments, I enter this room and begin praying and saying psalms to God. God always answers me, for he is merciful." As they walked out of the room, a messenger from the governor approached them and said, "My master has instructed me to notify you that you are delinquent in paying your taxes. He must receive the sum of 5,000 rubles by tonight." "Tell your master that he will receive it tonight," the host answered. Turning to his poor visitor, he then said, "You have just seen that I haven't a penny in my treasure room, but I fear not, for the mercy of God is infinite. Come, let us return to the room and pray for his help." The host entered the room, sat down at the table, and began saying a few chapters of Psalms. When he finished, he walked out and locked the door behind him. Suddenly a carriage drew up before him, and out stepped a general who inquired if he were the master of this mansion. When told that he was, the general said, "I have been summoned to duty in a far-away land, and I do not know if I will return alive. I have with me a chest of diamonds and gold, which I would like to entrust in your care. I have no heirs or relations, and I have heard that you are an honorable man, beyond reproach. Therefore, I am willing to pay you 5,000 rubles to guard this treasure. In the event I am killed, the treasure is yours." The host prepared a receipt, and when the general departed, he immediately dispatched the 5,000 rubles to the governor in payment of his taxes. Turning to the poor man, he said, "Do you see how swiftly God answered my prayers?" "It may be well for you," answered the poor man, "but how can I return home empty-handed when my daughter is soon to be married?" The host gave him 200 rubles and admonished him to trust more implicitly in God. The poor man thanked him profusely and departed. On the way, he met an official-looking wagon carrying an aged couple in chains. They were both crying and wringing their hands. When he inquired of the official in charge why they were in chains, he was told that they were delinquent in their taxes and were being carted off to jail. This punishment was meted out to tax delinquents in most European countries a few hundred years ago. "How much do you owe?" asked the poor man. 200 rubles, was the answer. Taking out the 200 rubles, which was given to him, he paid the officer and freed the elderly couple, who blessed him for their delivery. Continuing on his way, a poorer but happier man, he entered an inn and sat down to dinner. When he was eating, an officer approached him and inquired if he resided in a certain town. When he replied in the affirmative, the officer joyfully exclaimed, "Thank God, I have found a man who appears to be honest. Will you deliver this bag, which contains a few thousand rubles, to my brother who resides at this address? I am called to active duty, and I am unable to make the trip." The poor man took the bag and agreed to deliver it. When he arrived in the town and inquired after the man and the address, he found that there was no such person or street. He returned to the inn, but no one was there. But no one there had heard of the officer. He returned to the inn, but no one there had heard of the officer. In a quandary, he visited his rabbi, the saint of Koznitz, and asked his advice. "You have been rewarded for the great mitzvah of Pidyon Shavuyim, redeeming of prisoners, which you performed. The officer must have been an angel in disguise, sent by God to repay you for your good deed. The money is yours," concluded the rabbi. From that day onward, the man became very rich, and his trust and faith in God was unlimited. May the Almighty have similar pity on us, and hearken to our prayers when we call Him. So therefore we see that faith is rewarded, that faith brings its reward. This is a story that happens with the rabbi of Koznitz, the Koznitzer Rebbe. Okay. Thank you very much for watching, and things should be good. Take care. Be well.